time I realized I would never be a furniture flipper.
It's hard to even know where to start.
Here's the story of a cabinet that needed some love after water damage, too much varnish, and lots of dirt. I found her on Marketplace, pulled her out of an old shed, and planned to sand her down, clean the hardware, and maybe go for a slightly lighter wood color. But none of that worked out. So last year I thought I'd try my hand at renovating furniture and selling it. I watched YouTube videos, and I paint things all the time, so how hard could it be? I was even so convinced this would be one of my next jobs that I set up a place to take before and after photos in the garage. Well, that was not meant to be, but here's how I made this cabinet go from this to this. First, I carefully took off the beautiful hinges and placed them in their own bags so I wouldn't get confused when putting them back on. Next, I soaked the hardware in Barkeeper's Friend and water for about 5 minutes. I didn't do it too long because I didn't want to take away the vintage look, but these were dirty, corroding in some spots, and had layers of polish in the crevices. I'm really pleased with how the hinges turned out, much cleaner but still leaving the detail. Now, whether to sand or strip, I hate stripping furniture, but the polish and varnish or whatever is under these layers is so thick it's sticky. So I did an experiment on the back of 2 doors. I sanded one side, and it was taking a long time, so I thought I would give stripping a try. This is Citrus Strip. It has less fumes than a normal furniture stripper, and a $1 brush. When I picked up the piece, the guy who I bought it from said he had added a layer of furniture polish on there for me. Thanks. He was a nice guy, but he polished only part of the top half and not very well, and now I get to take it off. So put a nice thick layer going in the same direction of the citrus strip and go fairly quickly so it doesn't dry. Because when it dries, it turns white and cakey and it's impossible to work with. But if that does happen, you can apply more citrus strip to wet it again. So then I applied plastic wrap to prevent it from drying. But even after about 4 hours, the stripper wasn't enough to cut through all of these layers. I have had success with other projects though. It was worth a try, I guess. So sanding it is. This is gonna take a while. During this video, I'm wondering what I got myself into and if I'll be able to sand the whole thing or just paint the piece in the end.
One eternity later.
Okay, so it was more like 429 days this sat in the garage. It just became bigger and bigger in my mind. It's got some nice cobwebs going on. I think it became bigger in my mind because I'm not sure what to do up here. I'm not sure how to use this cool Dremel that I bought to get in the small crevices, and honestly, it's been really hot, so I'm just gonna quit complaining, quit making excuses, and get it done. So as I was working, I quickly came to the realization that I'm gonna have to paint this, unfortunately. This is gonna be the classic example of, I liked it better before, but trust me, it did not look good before with that varnish. It was shiny and sticky, and unfortunately it's made of a couple different kinds of wood. So where this type of wood sands very easy and nicely, this is a cheaper wood and it does not. Went to Home Depot, got the paint I needed, got a clamp, and you can't call it a DIY project unless you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, right? I'm gonna wash all the dust off and the cobwebs. I'm gonna start with primer. Then I have a burnished clay color. It's a matte finish. It's this color here. And then antiquing wax. To go very thin in the same direction of the wood. It's okay to have the lines because that's gonna give the antiquing wax a place to settle into. Now that we are all primed, we are ready to do the next step. This is flat paint in the color burnished clay. I'm going to put a coat of that on. Hopefully it just takes one. I'm realizing I really don't want to do the faux wood effect in here. It would be difficult. And I think it's going on so nice that I'm just gonna leave it white inside. Okay, it's time. I'm gonna do the antiquing wax. So I'm gonna start with the back side of the cabinet doors as a test and just kind of get my technique down. I use a t-shirt because it's soft and can get into the lines. Okay. I'm just gonna I know I start in the middle and that seemed to help last time, so. Just start in the middle. I'm just gonna take my time working it in and not panic. They turned out really nice, actually. I'm pleased. I think it's all gonna be okay. And if this doesn't end up working, then I actually don't mind it, this burnished clay color. So I could paint back over it if that doesn't work. But as you can see, there's already a lot of white in our house and we have white tile. So it's really nice to add some wood tones in here to warm it up and break up the white. Okay, it's a new day. My enthusiasm is waning. I really want to knock this out today because I have another project that I have to work on and the dishes aren't going to do themselves and life needs to move on. Kind of figured out my technique. So this is my saturated one and I'll dip it in here like this, but instead of just applying that on here, I'm folding it in so it has like more like a stamp effect. And then if there's too much stain, then I'm using this cleaner one to soak it up so it has more of a uniform finish. And this is the part that I'm nervous about, but we got to get this done today. See, I don't like, Maybe I should put some nice calming music over this video, but in my mind it's more like suspenseful music. Oh, I'm scared. And now for the last final nerve-wracking part is putting the hardware on. I'm glad I labeled them because there's no way I would remember now. I don't know why I'm putting so much pressure on myself for this project. I hope that this fits. I don't know if it's gonna scratch the paint when it closes. Here she is, she's all finished. I am honestly so relieved. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Was it worth all the work? No, I don't think so. But I did learn a lot of lessons along the way and I'm happy and relieved that it's done and I'm gonna have to stop myself from trying to put Christmas trees in here today. Thank you so much for tuning in and I'll see you next week.